Orphan, this is a horror thriller story. This is the story of Kate and her family. Kate's husband's name is John, and John and Kate have 2 children. The eldest son's name is Daniel, who is 12 years old, and they also have a younger daughter who can't hear or speak. Also, Kate was about to have another daughter, who passes through her womb. Kate is also fighting alcohol. Actually, she used to drink a lot of alcohol, but now she has given up. Slowly, over time, Kate has completely recovered, and Kate and her husband decide to adopt a girl, and they go to an orphanage. There are many children there, and there they meet Esther. She is a Russian girl. She has no friends. She doesn't play with anyone. She is different from everyone. And when John and Kate see her, she is painting. Actually, Esther is a very good painter, and Kate and John are very impressed by her, and they decide to adopt Esther, and they go to a nun to fulfill the formalities. The nun tells them that Esther is a very talented girl. She always does everything very well. It seems like she is a little older than her age. She also tells them that the family that brought Esther here, the whole family died in the fire. But Esther is like a princess, who always ties a ribbon around her neck and arms. Now they fulfill all the formalities and adopt Esther, and they take her home. After reaching home, John and Kate's daughter, whose name is Max, is very happy to see Esther, because she always wanted to have a big sister. Can Esther hear anything? Kate says a little, but when she was born, she couldn't hear at all. But she understands lip reading. That is, whatever you say, it will be understood by the movement of your lips what you want to say. Esther is very happy to have this house, this family, as if she has got a new life. And this family also gets along very well with Esther. But Kate and John's eldest son, Daniel, doesn't like Esther at all. He doesn't like the way she dresses. Now they admit Esther to a school, and when she is ready to go to school, she wears very strange clothes. Kate tries to explain to him that this is a school, you should wear some other clothes. Esther tells him that you said there is nothing wrong in being separate, and Kate agrees to this. But when Esther goes to her class, the kids make fun of her, especially a girl. But Esther doesn't answer her. She just keeps staring at her. At home, it is shown that Daniel is practicing with his gun, and the place where he is aiming, a pigeon comes and sits on it, and he aims at the pigeon, which injures the pigeon, and he runs there. Esther and Max also come there. Esther tells Daniel that she is in pain. Set her free. Kill her. But Daniel doesn't do that. And then Esther picks up a stone and kills the pigeon, and says that the pigeon is in hell. Now, Daniel says that you have a problem, and he runs away from there. The next day when Esther goes to school, she has a book in her hand. This is a Bible, and the same girl who made fun of Esther on the first day, she takes her Bible, and when Esther tries to take the Bible back from her, she flies in the air, and all her pages fall apart. This makes Esther very angry, and she shouts loudly. It seems as if she has lost her mind. Then she goes home. Kate, her mother, is playing the piano at home, and she is also teaching Esther. But Esther makes a lot of mistakes, but still Kate praises her. Kate also asks her about what happened at school today. You don't want to talk about it. Actually, her teacher told Kate. Esther says that there is nothing to talk about it. Esther also asks Kate who Jessica was. Hearing Jessica's name, Kate is surprised, because Jessica was Kate's daughter who passed away in her womb. Then Kate takes Esther outside. There is a flower tree. Kate tells Esther that Jessica passed away in her womb, and we spread her ashes here, so that we always feel with this flower that Jessica is with. Hearing this from Kate, Esther becomes very emotional, and tears come to her eyes. She tells Kate that Jessica was very lucky that she had a mother like you. Hearing this, Kate feels very good, and she hugs Esther. Now on the same night when Kate is working in the kitchen, John comes, and here the relationship between John and Kate starts. Although Kate tells John that we should go to the room, but John doesn't listen to her. And when these two are having a conversation, then Kate sees that Esther is looking at them. and these two are shocked to see her. Now the next morning, Kate goes to Esther, and she tries to explain to her that there are some things that children should not see. When adults love each other, there is a different way to show it. Esther says she knows. They communicate with each other. She says this very casually. And from this, Kate starts having doubts in her mind. She also talks to John about this. John says he must have heard in school. Kate says no. But the way she said it, it was not just a word for her. She also understands it. She tells John that we should take her to a psychiatrist, because we don't know anything about her. We only know that the family she lived with, the whole family died while eating. John doesn't pay much attention to Kate's words. He says, "You are thinking too much. There is nothing like that." Now the next day, John, Esther, and John's younger daughter, Max, go to the park. And in the park, Esther's classmate comes who troubles her in school. And when she is on the swing, Esther pushes her from above. This breaks her ankle, and she has 6 legs on her feet. And Max sees all this. And at home, John tells Esther that Brenda's dad told me that you pushed her from the swing. Esther refuses. And when Kate asks Max the same thing, Max also says no. Esther didn't do that. Her foot slipped. Actually, Esther and Max are very open to each other. That's why Max supports her. But Kate now has a doubt somewhere that something is wrong. There is definitely some mental problem with Esther. And this doubt becomes even more certain when she sees her playing the piano. Esther plays the piano very fast and very well. When she told Kate that she doesn't know how to play the piano, and that's why Kate is teaching her to play the piano. Kate asks, "Why did you lie to me?" Esther says, "I thought you would enjoy teaching me to play the piano. You will like it." For a music lover, it is very sad that one of her 2 daughters is not interested in music, and the other girl can't listen to her. She is surprised by this, and she tells all this to her husband, John. But John takes this very lightly. He says that she must have lied because she wanted to spend time with you. But Kate says it's not like that. And a lot of arguments start between the two of them. And Esther is happy about this. Now it is shown that a nun comes there. The nun from whose orphanage adopted Esther and brought her home. And she tells him that maybe she made a mistake. I found out about Esther in her old school, where I found out that there was a scissor in a boy's hand and it fell. And the scissor went inside his mouth. At that time Esther was there. Wherever there is an incident, something wrong happens. Esther is always there. John says, "What does this prove? You mean to say that Esther did all this? This is a small thing." The nun says that the family with which Esther lived, that whole family burned to death. And later in the investigation, it was found that the fire was not lit, but it was set on fire. John says, "What do you mean? A child burned the whole house and family to ashes." The nun says that I have heard and read many such incidents, where a child has committed a crime. But John does not want to believe what the nun says. Kate has faith in her words, and now there is fear in her heart. She is sure that whatever the incident was, Esther is behind it. The nun tells her that I am trying to reach the orphanage in Russia, from where Esther came here. We should know who we are dealing with. John says that I know who we are dealing with. She is a 9-year-old orphan. Kate says that we should take her to a psychiatrist. John agrees to this. Now Esther hears all this, and she goes to Max. She says that there is a lady outside who wants to take me with her. Will you help me? Max says yes. The nun leaves from there, and Esther starts following her, and she pushes Max in front of her car. The nun brakes, her car stops, and she runs to Max to see if she is hurt. Max is fine. And then Esther comes from behind. She has a hammer in her hand, and she attacks the nun's head and kills her, and she hides her body in Daniel's treehouse. Actually, Daniel has a treehouse where Daniel sometimes goes with his friends. Daniel sees them in the treehouse, but he doesn't know that Esther has killed the nun. And when Daniel is sleeping at night, Esther comes to him and stabs him in the neck. She says, "What did you see, Daniel?" says, I only saw you and Max in the treehouse. I didn't know anything else. She says, if you ever tell this to anyone, then I will kill you. And Daniel is very scared of this. The next morning, Kate and John take Esther to the psychiatrist, and she treats the psychiatrist very well. The psychiatrist tells Kate and John that she is a very good girl, and she is mentally normal. There is no such problem. Maybe the problem is in her close relationships, especially with you, Kate. Actually, Esther talks to the doctor in such a way that the doctor thinks that Esther is completely normal, and all the problems are in Kate. On the other hand, the police find the dead body of the nun, but it is not in the treehouse, because Esther took it out of there and threw it somewhere else, because Daniel saw them both in the treehouse. The police come to Kate and John's house, and they give them this news, that someone killed the nun. This makes Kate even more worried, and now she starts searching the internet. What is antisocial personality disorder? And she finds out a lot of things, which are all in Esther. And when Kate tells all these things to John, John doesn't believe her. According to him, Esther is just a 9-year-old innocent girl who has no one in this world, and he thinks that all the mistakes are of Kate, because Kate was an alcoholic at one time. She didn't take care of anything. Now Kate asks her 2 children about Esther. She asks, do you know anything about Esther? Which we don't know. Did you find anything strange in her? But her 2 children say no. They say no, everything is fine. On the other hand, it is shown that Esther is with her father. She says, I have waited all my life for a father like you. John says, Mom too. Esther says, she doesn't like me. I can understand. It is very difficult to love an adopted child. John says, there is no such thing. You have as much right in this house as everyone else. John says, why don't you do something for your mom? And when Kate comes home, Esther gives her a bouquet of flowers. And these are the same flowers. The flower tree that she considers her daughter. She considers it a part of her. And Esther has done all this on purpose. Seeing the bouquet of flowers, Kate gets very angry. She holds Esther's hand very tightly, and Esther starts screaming that she is killing me. John comes there and frees Esther. Kate says she did it on purpose. She knew the importance of these flowers in my life. John says it's not like that. It's not her fault. I told her to do something for you. But Kate is very sad to see these broken flowers. Inside, it is shown that from where Kate held Esther's hand, Esther presses her hand into the machine and fractures it, so that her accusation comes to Kate. And it happens. John says, you broke her hand. She says, I didn't hold her hand so hard that it broke. But John doesn't want to believe her. Now, a few days later, when Kate goes to drop her children to school, Daniel's school comes. And when Daniel is going up the stairs, books fall from his bag. Actually, someone tore his bag. And Esther did all this. Now Kate goes to pick up her books. Max is sitting in the car. And then Esther removes the handbrake of the car. The car is standing on a slope. And the car starts going backwards. A lot of cars are coming from behind. And Kate is running after her car to save her child. But the speed of the car is very high. But still, nothing happens to her daughter. After colliding with the snow, the car stops. And whatever happens, her entire accusation comes to Kate. Because a bottle of liquor was found in her house. And John and his psychiatrist think that she has started drinking again. Actually, she did buy a bottle of liquor. But she didn't drink it. And Esther finds this bottle and gives it to him, so that all the blame comes to Kate. Kate tries to explain to John that Esther is doing all this, but John doesn't want to listen to her. They want her to go to rehab again, so that she loses her habit of drinking, which she has already left. But Kate says that I didn't do anything like that. I didn't drink that liquor. John says that if you don't go to rehab in a week, then I will divorce you, and I will keep the custody of my children with me. Her daughter, Max, sees all this, and she is very sad about this. She has tears in her eyes, and that's when Esther comes behind her. She says that if you tell anyone anything, then I will kill your mom, because if she tells that Esther removed the brake of the car, then all the blame will come to Esther, and all the things of Kate will be true. When Esther is in the washroom, then Daniel goes to his sister Max, and he asks her if Esther removed the brake of the car. She says yes, and she shows him a lot of drawings, in which he has made pictures of all those incidents, which Esther has done till date. There is also a picture in it when he pushed a girl from the swing in the park. There is also a picture in it where he killed his sister-in-law. And there is also a picture of Daniel's treehouse. And Daniel says, "What were you doing there?" Max says that we have hidden all the evidence there, from which he killed his sister-in-law. Daniel asks if he is still there. He says yes. And when these two are talking all this, then Esther is hearing everything from outside, and she knows now that Daniel knows all the truth. The next day it is shown that Kate searches for Esther's belongings, and there she finds a book, in which there is a name of an institute, and this is Sarny Institute, and when she searches on Google, then she gets the phone number there. Kate calls that place, and she asks if this is Sarny Orphanage. She says no, this is a mental hospital. Kate is surprised to hear this, and with Esther's photo, she mails her details and everything. On the other side it is shown that Daniel goes to his treehouse to get those evidences. But the evidences are not there. Esther has taken those evidences earlier, and Esther comes from behind. She says that you search for these evidences. She throws all the evidences on the ground, and sets it on fire and closes the door from outside. Now this treehouse starts burning, and Daniel is inside. Daniel shouts loudly, and his mother sees from the window that the treehouse is on fire. Somehow Daniel jumps from there. He gets injured and faints. There is a stone there. Esther picks up that stone, and she is about to kill Daniel. She pushes Max from behind, and before she picks up the stone again, Kate comes there, and she takes her son to the hospital. In the hospital, Daniel's condition is very delicate. He is in the ICU. Here Esther and Max are also there, and when Kate is not there, Esther goes inside, and she takes off his oxygen mask, and she tries to kill him by pushing his face, and Daniel's heartbeat, which is running on the machine, stops. She thinks that Daniel is dead. That's why doctors come there, and they bring back Daniel's heartbeat again, and Daniel's life is saved. But Kate knows that all this is done by Esther. She goes to him and slaps him. She says that you want to kill my son. But John and the staff of the hospital stop Kate. Meanwhile, Kate's phone also falls, and an unknown number calls her. And this call is from the same mental hospital from where Esther came. But she doesn't know about this call. Now with all these things, Kate's health also deteriorates, and she also has to be admitted in the hospital. John comes to her. He says that I am taking Esther and Max home. Kate tells him not to leave Max with Esther. But John doesn't believe her. He leaves without answering her. And after reaching home, when Max sleeps in her room, then Esther comes to John. John is completely drunk, and Esther comes to John wearing makeup and clothes like big women, and she starts seducing him. That is, she sexually tries to attract him to her. And after seeing all this, John is surprised, and he believes that what his wife Kate was saying was absolutely right. John scolds her. Esther says that stop talking to me like a child. John says that you go upstairs to your room. Tomorrow I will call my sister, and then we will decide whether you should stay here or not. And she goes upstairs, and Esther goes upstairs to her room and starts crying. On the other side of the hospital, it is shown that Kate gets a call from that doctor. That is a doctor from Sarny Institute. He says that the photos and details you sent me of that girl, that is Esther, I have got it. Is that girl still with you? Kate says no. She is at home with my husband. The doctor tells her to call her husband right now, and tell him to leave the house with his family, and then call the police. Kate says I can't do this. They won't listen to me. The doctor tells her that she is not a girl, but she is a 33-year-old mature woman. Kate says that she is only 9 years old. We have adopted her. The doctor tells her that she has a kind of disease, which is called a rare hormone disorder. In this, a kind of porn is made inside a person. He looks like a child, but those children don't cry. And the girl who lives with you, her real name is Lena, and she has helped 7 people before today. She always lives like a child. Even before this, she had trapped a family. They adopted her, and when she couldn't trap the man who adopted her, she killed his entire family and set that house on fire. The doctor also tells her that she has a lot of anger inside. That's why she was admitted to our mental hospital. And when we locked her up alone, she used to cut her throat and neck. I am surprised that you didn't see that sign. Why didn't you see? Kate didn't see that sign because she used to cover those signs with a scarf. But now Kate knows that her family, her husband and daughter's life is in danger. That's why she leaves the hospital and goes home. There it is shown at home that John Astor's, that is Lena's pictures. He looks at those paintings, which he has made. There would be a blue light here at night, and there are some other kinds of paintings in this blue light, which are not visible during the day. There is a lot of violence in all these paintings. Now Kate calls her husband John, and when he goes to pick up the phone, then the light goes off. Actually, all this is done by Astor, and that's when she stabs him from behind, and she kills John. Now Kate reaches home, and she sees that her husband has been murdered, but her daughter Max is hiding, and Astor is looking for her. Astor finds out that Kate has also reached home. Astor has a gun, and she shoots Kate with it, which injures Kate's hand. Now Kate goes to her garden roof, which is completely glass, and she sees from there that her daughter is hiding behind the trees, and Astor comes there. Astor knows that someone is hiding here, and she looks at Max. She shoots Max several times, but Max survives, and that's when Kate breaks the glass from above and jumps down on him, which makes them both unconscious. Max comes there. She shakes her mother. She comes to her senses, and now she takes the gun and goes out with her daughter. And that's when Kate sees that police cars are coming towards their house, because before reaching here, Kate had called the police. This gives Kate a breath of relief, but that's when she sees that Lena, that is Astor, is running towards her with a knife, and before she pulls out the gun and shoots Lena, that is Astor, they both collide, and she drops the gun from her hand, and they both go to the lake frozen in ice. There Lena tries to kill him with a knife, but she survives. And that's when Max picks up the gun that had fallen from her mother's hand, and she shoots. But the bullet does not hit Lena, that is Astor, but it hits the ice, and the ice breaks from there, and they both fall into the lake. But Kate comes out of the lake, and when she is moving forward, Lena grabs her leg. She also has a knife in her hand, and she tells Kate, "Don't let me die, Mom." Kate says, "I am not your mother," and she kicks him hard on the face, which breaks his neck, and she drowns in that lake. It is the time of January 26, 2007, where we are shown a psychiatrist, which goes to a mental hospital, and the in-charge there tells him that there are a lot of patients here, but some of them are very dangerous. Then the in-charge is told that Lena is not in her room. After hearing this, the in-charge is scared. He tells the doctor that you have been called here for the same treatment, who is 31 years old. After that, he leaves the doctor in a safe room to find Lena. Now the room in which the doctor is, he sees that a girl is sitting in front of him, who is 10 years old. The doctor asks the girl, "Are you waiting for your parents here?" She says, "Why do you think so?" And after that she attacks the doctor. But then the in-charge comes here and saves the doctor, and we find out that this is Lena, and this is not a girl, but she is 31 years old. Actually, she has a hormonal disorder, because of which she looks 10 years old. Now the in-charge tells the psychiatrist that Lena is very dangerous. Before this, a family had adopted her, but Lena killed the whole family. And since then, she is here. At the same time, Lena is shown seducing a guard in the hospital. And when the guard comes to her, she kills him and leaves the hospital. At the same time, the psychiatrist is shown reaching home by car. He does not know that Lena has reached here by sitting in the trunk of his car. And now Lena enters his house, where she kills the psychiatrist, after which she starts searching the children in his computer, who had disappeared recently, and she gets a girl's photo there, whose face looks like her. This girl's name is Esther, who had disappeared from her house a few years ago. And at this time this girl must be about 10 years old. And now Lena decides that somehow she will reach her house as 10-year-old Esther. That's why she gets ready like a 10-year-old girl, when she is 31 years old. And now she leaves the house and sits on a swing. Then a policeman comes to her, and he asks Lena that what are you doing here so late at night? What is your name? She says that my name is Esther. I was separated from my parents when I was a child. We are shown the same parents of Esther, who still miss her. This is a very rich family. And now the detective comes to her, who has been handling her daughter's case since 2003. He tells that a girl has been found in Moscow, who is telling her name is Esther. She is telling that someone had kidnapped her from the US and brought her here. After hearing this, Esther's mother reaches Moscow, where Esther sees her and hugs her. After that, the lady takes her daughter Esther, who is actually Lena. She takes her to the plane and leaves for her country. On the way, Esther's mother asks her some questions. But Esther, that is Lena, she can't answer those questions, which are related to her childhood. And now she starts to have a little doubt about it. But for now she feels that maybe because of the shock, she may not remember everything. And now she has come back to her country, where her dad is very happy to see her, because he loves Esther a lot. But Esther has also forgotten that her grandmother has died. Because of this, Esther's mother's suspicion of Lena continues to increase. Now she takes Lena to her doctor, when the doctor asks Lena questions. So Lena pretends to be Esther completely, but the doctor also starts to doubt her. Also, the detective who has been handling her case since 2003, he also doubts her. That's why he is secretly making a video of her. Lena sees her, and now her problems increase. After this, it is shown that she goes to her dad, that is, to Esther's dad, who is making paintings. Lena makes very good paintings, and when she makes a painting there, so her father keeps watching. He does not believe that his daughter Esther, who is only 10 years old, she made such a great painting, because when she disappeared, so her painting is not so good. Actually, Lena is 31 years old, and she is a very good painter. And here the detective has complete suspicion of Lena. She knows that she is not Esther. That's why he goes to Lena's, that is, to Esther's parents, and tells them that we have to go to the doctor again. This makes Lena worried. And in the evening when her mom and dad, that is, Esther's mom and dad, go to a party. So here Esther's brother is at home, who is partying with his friends. And then the detective comes there, who comes into the house by mistake, and leaves Lena's room with her fingerprints from her records. When he reaches his house and matches those fingerprints, then he sees that those fingerprints are not Esther's. He is now convinced that she is not Esther, but someone else. And then Lena comes from behind and stabs him with a knife.